Okay, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the inaugural Fridays with Felicia event. We are so excited to have you all with us today. My name is Kayla Van Wieringen. I am the political director for Ruthless Florida. Ruthless Florida is the leading organization in the state that's working to recruit, train, and elect Democratic women all across Florida. And we are so honored and excited to have endorsed and be working with the amazing Felicia Robinson, candidate for Florida House District 102. We are very honored to be co-hosting this amazing event with her today. And we're also very grateful for the leadership that people like Felicia are showing right now, who are stepping up, taking action amidst this crisis to get people the resources and the information that they so desperately need. So we have a wonderful lineup planned for you today and some amazing special guests who I will let Felicia introduce. But I just wanted to go through a couple housekeeping items with everyone. If you can just make sure to keep yourselves muted throughout the presentations. There's a little microphone that should have a red slash through it just so we don't have any feedback noise. We will be taking questions at the end, so after everyone has spoken. So if you have questions during the presentations, please go ahead and write them down. At the end, you can put your questions in the chat box, which if you're on your computer, you'll see it on the Zoom screen, and you also have it if you're on the Zoom app on your phone. So we'll take questions at the end. Other than that, thank you all for being here. We are super excited, and I will go ahead and toss it over to Felicia.
Well, good afternoon, and I am so happy that you all are here with us. Fridays with Felicia. So some of you all may be wondering, what is this? This is a community conversation where we're going to sit and talk about conversation or have conversations that we need to have. Our lineup or the things that I want to discuss is to have legislative updates. In Tallahassee, each year they go and they bring all these bills and that we have to abide by. But do we really, as a community, know what's actually happening there? So we have with us today State Representative Chevron Jones, District 101. He's going to come and give us some updates. And he's not only going to give us updates telling us what actually happened or some of the bills that passed this last session. He's going to talk to us about how some of these things are affected by this pandemic that we're all experiencing. We're also going to have a wellness chat. For those of you that know me, you know that I'm all about health. I believe we only have one body, and if we don't take care of it, then what's the use? So we have Dr. Heather Braithwaite from the Black Nurses Association. She's going to be talking to us about our mental health and well-being and how we're going to deal with this as we're going through this pandemic. So we hope that you enjoy that. And then we also have with us Tina T, an entrepreneur. She has her own business. She's going to talk to us a little bit about small businesses and how you get them up and running, how you make them last, and of course, how this pandemic may be affecting some of our small businesses. Again, and one of the things I really believe is knowledge is power, and it's the power that allows us to take action. And I believe each and every last one of us, when we know better, we definitely do better. So having this Fridays with Felicia, we're going to have lots of conversation, bring you a lot of knowledge, and we hope that it will allow each and every last one of us to do better and become better advocates for our community. So we're going to start off this afternoon and give us an intro and bring some knowledge to us. Representative Jones?
I had to unmute myself, I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. First of all, to Councilwoman Robinson, thank you so much for putting this together. I think it's important that we definitely keep the community informed during this time. We know we are definitely in uncertain times, and but I also realize that individuals who are on this call, the people who you will have speaking today, bring information, all of us realize that we must still continue to bring information to people so people can understand that there are still things that we as people should be, and leaders within positions should be working on to ensure that we keep our neighbors informed. So thank you for this platform to be able to do that. For those who are aware, just a few weeks ago, we ended the 2020 legislative session doing our one constitutional duty, which is to pass a balanced budget. This year's budget was about $92 billion. And we still, I will start off by saying we still lay in limbo to see what the governor is going to do about the budget. I will say that with the rollout of what is happening currently right now with the coronavirus, I'm almost sure that we find ourselves in a predicament where we're going to, as a legislative body, are going to have to figure out what we're going to do to move the funds around, take care of certain things. And I will give a legislative update, but I want to make sure I put this out there. Currently now, as for those of you who have been following, we have the SBA Bridge Loan Program that was designated to ensure with about $50 million or so that was designated to ensure that when these type of crises come, that we can ensure that our small businesses are have the leverage to put them back on their feet. But if you read the report this week, you will see that the SBA Bridge Loan Program funded only 1,000 businesses, leaving 37,000 businesses without having any access to these dollars. I shared it publicly, I shared it with the media, and so therefore it's no secret that if the small businesses within our communities, Black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. They are the driving forces of our communities, and we have a responsibility to take care of the small businesses to ensure that that the vibrancy within our communities continue, even during this crisis, continue to be seen. We should not be in a position to where after this is done, that those small businesses have no way of bouncing back from this pandemic. So I believe you will see more about what needs to happen in the coming days. I will tell you that you're going to see something probably come out within the next 48 hours, which will be an ask that will be coming from my colleagues on the Democratic side, asking for the governor to look at us calling the legislature back to do what's right, to ensure that we take care of our small businesses and to take care of our failed unemployment system that we currently see right now. With all the claims that has happened, only 5% of the claims have been addressed, but yet and still we go into almost 3 of individuals not receiving money into their household. And this is something that is not only it doesn't look good on the leadership of the state, but it also is, I believe personally, that it is malpractice of us as a state, that we're not taking care of the constituents of the state of Florida who are there. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican, everyone on both sides of the aisle is hurting from this. Two bills that I will pull out from this legislative session. I will report on. The first one I'm going to do it only because she was such an intricate part to the legislative body, and she passed away. And that's our dear Representative Kristen Jacobs, who passed just last week. And Representative Jacobs had been fighting extremely hard for shark fins legislation, which was Senate Bill 680. She, till the last day of session, they honored her, calling it the Kristen Jacobs Ocean Conservation Act. It was totally evident of who she was and what she stood for in the legislature, and that was ensuring that we had a Florida that respected our water and our environment. And she would definitely go down in history as one of the effective legislators that we have in the state of Florida. And I pray that, the Lord, I really pray that we keep her family in prayer and her children also. Every year, as you all know, there is some type of abortion bill that is pushed. And this year, we saw another portion bill by my colleagues who went forth. It was a very contentious where the Republicans hope is that their new conservative Supreme Court, because the courts are stacked, will honor it and will open the floodgates for other attacks on women's health care. Both Rep. Dan Daly and I, we made sure that, and others, we made sure that we continue to put it out there that we should not be imposing on a woman's right to choose. It's a shame this bill was put forth. Young women who don't involve their parents in their decision usually have a really good reason, and we shouldn't interfere with that and put them at risk. Not only just putting young people at risk, but it also creates an entity where you're putting more, you're creating a black market for abortions or alley abortions to happen. I really truly believe that every year is forth. This year is an election year. I have respect for my colleagues, but I just think that as we continue to do these, I think we should be looking broader and look at other avenues in which and how we deal with things like forth sexual education and putting forth things to where we can talk to children about talk to them about these things, putting sex education back into the classrooms, but imposing on a woman's rights, asking for parental consent, I believe is wrong, and I believe that it is not in the right direction in which we should be going. A bill that I'm excited that we have been fighting for years is House Bill 71, teacher pay raise, which was House Bill 71-3, which the Democrats held up everything on that amendment. And then the speaker, he TP'd all of the Democrats' bills. But there comes a time to where you really have to stand firm for things that you truly believe in. And our teachers fight hard. Our teachers fight too hard, and we need to show them respect. And if we told teachers we're going to give them a raise, we need to not only give them a raise, but with strings attached. And I'm happy that we were able to get this forth to ensure that our teachers, not only just our teachers, make sure we respect our veteran teachers. That was included in the bill also, and also for our support staff. As a former teacher, I will tell you that it is malpractice of us to just say we're going to give all the teachers a raise, but not to give support staff, because just as well as the teacher, ensure that school runs well. I mean, those children learn. The secretary that sits in the front desk, the assistant who's helping the teacher, all of them play a role in that. The last two bills I'll give you is dignity for incarcerated pregnant women, which is House Bill 49, which passed unanimously, which we're waiting on for the governor's signature on that. I was so happy to work with Senator Pizzo on that bill. For 2 years, we've worked on dignity for incarcerated women. I'm a firm believer that no matter what your place is in society, everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. No woman should have to have a baby alone, and no woman should have to go through the trauma of sitting in a cell, solitary confinement, and she is shackled while she's pregnant. So this bill said that no woman who is pregnant at gestation can be shackled or placed in solitary confinement at all. So I'm very excited about that. And the last bill that I'm happy that passed was the Urban Gun Violence Task Force. Very quickly after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas happened, February 14th, 2017, a commission was created to study school safety. And we wanted to make sure that what was being done in Parkland, we wanted to model that for the urban community, because we know for a fact that there is a huge issue with gun violence that's taking place within the Black community. We modeled that legislation after the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission that was placed in House Bill 7101 through an advisory body bill for the study of gun violence to be looked at within urban communities. A commission to be created where everyone from the Senate president all the way to the minority leader has the opportunity to pick 2 individuals to sit on this panel and report back to the legislature with a sunset of 5 years. All in all, this legislation legislative session was like any other one where we go back and forth on things that we don't agree on. But I will say this, that we fought hard to ensure that people weren't taken advantage of, and to ensure that cities and counties maintain the right to make the rules, and not Tallahassee. Tallahassee is not the king, and we should not be violating home rule. And that's my opinion.
Well, thank you so much, Representative Jones. And that's what we need, because now we're a little bit more informed on some of the bills that was pushed forward this year in our legislative session. And every month, I would like to get a little bit more so that the residents and the people that are here that's on the ground that these different bills affect, they'll know exactly what's going on. So we appreciate your hard work. The bills that you brought forth, the ones on gun violence, you know that we need it. Me being an educator, I'm very honored and happy that you all were fighting up there for us. And then I would have never thought that women that was incarcerated was having to deal with that when they were having childbirth. So we appreciate you bringing that to our attention and actually fighting to solve that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And continue the great work as you go on to be our senator next. Okay, now we have with us Dr. Heather Braithwaite. She comes to us with a wealth of knowledge. She's a member of the Black Nurses Association, which I've partnered with for years, and she's going to come and talk to us about our mental health and how we can build on that and be strong, especially during this pandemic and this hard time. So Dr. Braithwaite, would you go ahead and talk with us?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday as we're all quarantining in our homes. I was asked to speak on the coronavirus and how it's affecting our mental health. And so we could talk about the coronavirus and how it's causing depression, but I think what it's causing more so is anxiety. And we know what anxiety is, we know what stress is, but we need to be able to have tools to help build resilience during these times. And how are we gonna combat this thing? Well, first we need to understand that we do have stress in our lives, and we become anxious when there's a crisis. I was on a call, a webinar this morning, and they spoke about how the virus and what types of feelings persons are reporting during this time. And the top 7 were number 1 being loneliness, and loneliness and isolation, on people's mind was the COVID crisis and when it's going to end and when we're going to get back to some sense of normalcy. They were having issues with relationship problems. They also cited current issues as something that was very heavy on their plate, financial issues, and grief. And I took a look at those and I said, you know what? I can talk about each of these a little bit and then kind of tell you how, as we engage with others in our homes and in our communities, friends, how we can help folks get over these hurdles. Now, I'm not sure, but I don't really listen to the news, because if you listen to the news, you would actually feel worse than if you didn't let somebody tell you about what's going on. But if you sit down, like I do every Saturday and Sunday, because I have a little bit of time, I come out of this thing feeling like overwhelmed, number one, and helpless. And it's okay for me to say that because that's how I feel. I can't do anything to help. What I've recognized in the last couple of days is that we have so many people who've been touched by Corona. I have had, New York is a place where the virus is it's just exploding there. Yesterday, my niece in New York, her grandmother on her mother's side lived in a nursing home. Grand was 94. And someone came into the nursing home and infected all of the individuals there, and she passed yesterday. So this was a big thing for our family because we're from Barbados. So when you look at folks that are living in America, they're elderly, and they're saying to you they want to go back home to be buried. This is the consulate are dealing with this because what happened to Gran, she cannot be sent back to Barbados. They're not accepting live people and they're not accepting deceased people. So we had to, there's no funeral homes in New York that are accepting bodies. So my niece had to pull from, she remembered she's a principal, and she remembered one of her colleagues owning a nursing home. She was so anxious, calling me at 1 o'clock in the morning. Anxiety set in, what are we gonna do? Thank God, we were able to get a funeral home to pick up the body, and only 10 people can attend the funeral. And she's gonna be buried in New York. So we've got people in Barbados crying, we've got people in New York crying, nobody can see her. That's anxiety provoking. And the sad thing is, people don't have time to grieve. Grief is was one of the points this morning that the doctors were speaking of, the psychiatrists, and people are not getting time to grieve. We also look at, again, when we look at the news, I'm looking at the news and I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, this doesn't look like this thing is gonna let up at any time. And how are we educating folks on what they should listen to? Well, there are some news outlets that we need to be advising our families and our friends that they should only listen to these recommended trusted news sources. And one is the government.uk, one is the BBC News. They're talking about The Economist, the CDC Gov website, and the World Health Organization as trusted sites that one should only listen to for information. Because if you listen to, we all listen to CNN, we all listen to Fox, we all listen to NBC. I go between all three of them when I'm sitting on the couch. And believe me, by the time I'm done, I'm just wiped out. There's so much information, negative and positive, that you put yourself in a position that you will become more anxious and not able to cope. There are also there's some good newsletters. The Week is one of them. Country and Town House. Some of us might not know these networks, but these are places that they're saying that we should go to for information. Now, as we talk about anxiety, how are we, a lot of us live and have seniors. My mom is 92. She's not here, she's in Barbados, thank God, and she's safe. But those of us who have elderly family members, how are we keeping them informed and keeping them safe and keeping them, decreasing their anxiety level, because they're getting information from others, not necessarily from you or me, but we have other people that they're living with and they're getting information from them. So I've been telling my colleagues, stay in contact with the family members, elderly family members, on a day-to-day basis. Make sure that they're safe. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you care, and let them know that there's going to be an end to this at some point, and you will keep them abreast of what's going on. And what my friend, a colleague from Miami-Dade College shared with me, they have elected only one person in their family to be a spokesperson. And I thought that was quite interesting, because as you get information filtering in from different sources, different people, it can become very disjointed, very convoluted, and there again, anxiety. And you don't want to go from an anxiety state of a mild anxiety to a moderate anxiety to a severe anxiety and then to a panic state. Because when there's a panic state, there's no room for listening. There's no room for getting any good information across to others. As I move down I did a little PowerPoint presentation, so bear with me. How can we help others? They talked about folks that are in relationships that are not, that are having problems. And it was amazing because I didn't think about this, but you say, for instance, the example that they use, you're in an abusive relationship and now you are locked in a home with someone who's abusing you prior to COVID, and now you're with them 24/7. How are you handling yourself? These are the individuals that we want to really, really stay in contact with. There's a telephone number that is circulating where these individuals can call in to get some help. You want to be able to, again, give them a contact that they could have like a safe space. If they have a friend, if they have someone, we've gone back to telling individuals what we do when we talk about women who are being abused. Gather all your passports, gather all your good documents, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in a little suitcase. When he's out the house, have somebody pick it up, get it to someone, come up with a plan. We're having to resort now to these measures as we help individuals who are being forced to live in confined spaces with individuals who are abusing them. One of the other topics they talked about was financial issues. And more so than ever, we're all impacted. I just thank God every day that I am a professor and I have the ability to teach online. All of my classes are online, and even my hospital rotations are now online. And as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, I'm able to do telemedicine with clients to make sure, not a whole lot of real meetings, but to make sure people have medications. But for those of us who are not able to work, there's a huge financial burden. And as Mr. Sherwin, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, the small business loans that were available to business owners have run out. So we have businesses that are going to be closing. People are not able to go to work. The food banks is a place where you could go to get food. And I will say on this chat that I almost got arrested in my city because I said to them, and I will speak to someone, this is not what we do. We're giving food to people who are in cars, but no one's looking at the people who don't drive. No one's looking at, everybody's saying, well, we're packing food for seniors. Yes, we are. But what about those that are disabled from 20 to 100 that can't come out? You don't have records of these people. So I'm collecting for folks in the East who can't get to the West. And the gentleman said to me, I will call the police up for you. And to me, I was like shocked that he would even say that, because I'm saying to him, these are people that can't come. These are people that don't have money. So I'm going to have a conversation with our mayor regarding the situation. Everybody needs help, just not the people who are driving cars. Maybe have a 6-foot distancing and tell people come with bags or come with whatever and stay 6 feet apart, because financially the food, if you are able to provide food for them, that would help. But if they have to buy meat, they can take their monies and they can budget for different things. And I'm so glad that the food banks are out there, and Feed in South Florida is there to help. And I go out and I do my part. I feel that that was something that I didn't have to do. But thank God that I can give my assignments, and I say to my students, and I ask permission. And people say, well, why do you ask permission? You're the professor. No. I'm telling my students what I'm doing, because we are in a profession that we need to help. And anytime I see anything like this, I go out and help, because it helps decrease the anxiety for those that we serve. Last but not least, we want to talk about the grief issue. How are we going to help those who have been affected with the virus, that have lost individuals, especially in our community? African Americans have a tendency, I'm from the Caribbean, so we're just like the African American community. Everybody comes to the funeral. And what we do in Barbados, we will hold, I see somebody talking, I don't know, I can't hear.
Felicia, you're on mute. Are you talking to Heather?
Okay.
I think you're good to continue, Dr. Braithwaite. I think she might.
Yeah. we keep our bodies for weeks on end, because what happens in the Caribbean community, we have families that reside in London, Canada, and all over the place, and we're keeping bodies. My friend in the Bahamas, and we don't think about this, her father died. He was the commissioner of police, and they wanted to give this gentleman a state funeral. Guess what? He was laid to rest with 3 people, and the entire family is falling apart. How are we going to help others? I would say, and what I've been pretty much pushing, is for all of us to really stay in contact with our faith leaders, ask them to provide some type of service via Zoom, or some platform like Zoom where you can get like 17, 18 people together. I know a couple of friends I know that had the virus. Another gentleman close to us, he was cremated. Folks are opting for cremation rather than for burial. And this sometimes does not sit quite well with families, because we're into burying. We don't like to burn. That's what we say. But at this point in time, we need to really reach out to our faith leaders and ask them if they could help. Their mental health, all of our community mental health centers are up and running. I know Jackson North is up and running. Assurance of Hope Community Mental Health Center in Sunrise is up and running. We have Skype meetings for grief counseling at least 3 times per week, and we've had over 20 to 25 individuals log in. I'm not sure about Chrysalis Health, but I think we need to put together some type of a pamphlet or get the word out there for those who are interested, to provide the community mental health centers who are involved in grief counseling and offering grief services for families who've been affected by the virus. Last but not least, how can we help ourselves? I know that we're teachers, we're nurses, we're business owners, and we come in contact with a lot of folks. I know what I have done is I've asked folks to start journaling. People are at home, and it's amazing what you can do when you have the time. And I've asked a couple of my colleagues to start journaling with family members. Journal your feelings, journal your thoughts. Every time, like yesterday, there was a mandate, I think, that came down from the president about reopening the country and giving the governors some type of leeway to go ahead and do that. So I have a colleague who started this, and they have a chat, and all the family members are on the chat giving their perspective and how they feel. And she has told me it has decreased the anxiety amongst the family members tremendously by having them journal. And I think this is a tool that will help a lot of us as we move forward. Last but not least, and I hate to talk about this, but it's part of being anxious. There's some of us that are not going to really handle the anxiety very well. And when you're not able to cope and you don't have the tools to cope, you have to recognize that you need help, and you might need some non-narcotic medication that will help you through this anxiety period. So again, I've been advising my colleagues to let people know, get a list of all the community mental health centers that are available, and all the doctors that are available, all the therapists, psychologists, nurse practitioners, certified psychiatric nurses that are available and that are offering services. And a lot of people are offering services for free. And this is very important. We're trying to, I know the community mental health center that I'm associated with, Assurance of Hope, our services are free. So if anyone on this chat would inbox me and let me know if you need any information, just to pass it along, to let people know that they're not alone and there is help out there for them. And with that, I know we have others. I want to say thank you for having me. And if you need any additional information, you can type it in the chat, and I will respond.
Thank you so much, Dr. Braithwaite. And we do have some questions for you. You did give us some great information. So just hold tight. We're going to go ahead and we're going to speak with our entrepreneur, Miss Tina T. And then afterwards, we're going to have a couple of questions for you all.
Well, good evening, or I should say good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Felicia, for hosting this Friday with Felicia. And before we get started, I'm going to stand up for a minute because I want to show this shirt to everyone. I think this is very important, not only from a business standpoint, but from an overall perspective of how we need to move forward. And believe it or not, we all are in business. We all are branding ourselves. So I'm going to stand up so you can see this shirt.
Yes.
It says, COVID-19 won't shake my what? Faith.
Faith.
It won't
Hope.
shake my what? Hope.
Hope.
It will not shake my love, and it will not shake my courage. So there's
Great
a young man
shirt. I have one too.
created that shirt, and he is an entrepreneur, and I wanted to give him a shout out. Ryan Beauclair, a friend of mine, her son, he's trying to, he's an entrepreneur. He's trying to raise money for shirts, and he's going to give a portion of that to a family that's in need. With that being said, my name is Tina Teague, and I am an insurance agency owner with Tina Teague Insurance Agency, Inc., doing business as a State Farm agent. I am located in the beautiful city of Pembroke Pines. I've been here for 20 years. My background basically has always been in the insurance and financial services arena. And when Felicia advised me entrepreneur, well, I'm not really quote unquote creating anything. I'm here to help you manage your everyday risk that you take on, because at some point in time, we all have or should have various lines of insurance. I want to let you know, like with State Farm, every State Farm agent office is independently owned, right? So you have to get your own business. So it's not like a franchise. But I want to really touch on just looking at it from a standpoint of when you're trying to start your a business, a lot of it is just really the same, and it doesn't matter what line of business that you may go into. You have to have an A team. And by that, what do I mean an A team? You need to have a CPA or a bookkeeper. You should have a team, a staff. You should have an attorney. You should have, that should be your A team, where you can go to those individuals that could help you with your legal, making sure that you're, you're doing your taxes right, that you're paying your taxes. Those are just basic things that any and every business. You should get a tax ID number, right? You should file and get that so that you have it. That's just the right way to do it. Now, branding yourself is important. Like this young man, he's branding himself. I'm always out in the community branding. So that's important, as well as when you're looking to establish yourself in whatever area of business you're looking to get into. And often, I think a lot of times, business owners may or may not do this very well, but you need to learn to manage your expenses. Manage your expenses. And why? Because we're at a point in time right now, COVID-19, where a lot of small businesses may make it and may not make it. I personally did apply for the PPP. Have not heard back from my bank yet. I don't know if I was approved. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, but I did apply. As I thought, most of the larger small business, because small business is anyone 500 and under, so the larger small business, if you will, probably took up all the money. I don't know if that's true or not, but you have to manage your expenses. So when you're looking to go in business for yourself, whatever line of business, is it tangible products, intangible, like I do intangible products, you have to make sure that you've established a line of credit. So you have funds available to you. So if in a situation like we are in now, where small businesses are losing staff or having to get rid of staff, Hopefully you have over the years established a relationship with a bank, a credit union, and you have those emergency funds so that you can keep your staff, your payroll, the rent, the lights, everything going so you don't have any of those problems. Then you have to make tough decisions. Unfortunately, a lot of small businesses are having to make those tough decisions. Are they gonna get rid of their staff, or they're gonna fight through even if they don't get the loan, the small business loan? How are you gonna make that, happen? If it's more than just you as a small business owner. When you have a business, a lot of times I think individuals, owners, do not realize the importance of customer service. Customer service is not a department, it is an attitude that you display to those individuals that are doing business with you. You have to have a remarkable customer service in order to generate business. I don't really want to go too far into a lot of, because when you're looking at entrepreneurial, if you will, there's a lot of different areas you can go into, but I basically wanted to touch on making sure that you're managing your expenses. You do have a line of credit, so in crunch times like we are now that we've never ever seen in my lifetime, that you do have those funds available so that you're able to meet your obligations as a business owner. And oftentimes small businesses have to make tough decisions, and you have to be in a position to make those decisions if you want to survive. And again, you have to have that remarkable, that outstanding customer service, which is really your attitude towards your customer or potential customers, and making sure you're branding yourself in the community. How are you as a business person branding yourself, giving back to the community in a way that will reflect that you are part of your community? Felicia, I think that's about all that I want to say. But one thing I do want to touch on before I leave, I want to kind of leave you with this. I read this, and it says that this pandemic will define who you are. It will not define who you are. It will reveal who you are. It will reveal who you are. So remember, I started with my shirt. What it will not do is, it will not define my faith, my hope, my love, and my courage. So to all my small business owners, soon to be small business owners, you have to keep the faith, because this too shall pass, and we will make it through this together. Thank you, Felicia.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. So we're going to now go into our question component, and then I'm going to leave you with some resources, and we're going to move forward. The first question that I want to ask, and I kind of want to pose this to all of our guest speakers, or all of you in general, and this question is for pretty much everyone. As we move through our day-to-day of COVID-19, what can we do? What can we be doing right now to better prepare us once we are returning back to normalcy? So right now we know things are all over the place, but we definitely know that at some point we're going to get back to normalcy. So I want to know, like, if Representative Jones is still here with us, you know, on the state perspective, what can we do to prepare for that? On the health perspective and the health department and the health arena, Dr. Braithwaite, what can we do now to prepare for that? And being a business owner, what can we do on our day-to-day to prepare, become normal once again? And anyone can take that first.
I'll go first since I kind of started. What can we do now? What can we do now is be in the now. We cannot go too far into the future and figure out the what ifs. What can you control now is what I would tell everyone. What can you control? We cannot control what will take place next week, next month, because we are living in a new normal. What will that new normal look like? I don't know. And I don't think any of us know. But I think what we can control our thoughts. We can control how we respond to situations, good or bad. We have to find a way to push through and keep that positive attitude. If it calls for praying more, meditating more, less alcohol, less alcohol, less alcohol. Did I say that enough? It's not good. I know we think that's the best way to handle it, but that's not the right way. And I hopefully the doctor will agree with me. Get out there and exercise. Of course, we have to stay the distance, but all of that is going to help you to make it through, because we're living in the now. We will let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. Take care of what you can that's within your control. Keep your finances keep your eye on your finances, which we should have always been doing, but now more than ever, because there are so many changes that are taking place, that we must keep a close eye on our expenses and our debt, because that's what we can control. That's what we control. So I don't want to take up too much time. I'll let everyone else chat in.
Okay. So did anyone else want to answer on that? You know, through the health or the state perspective, what can we do from day to day to prepare us to come back to normalcy?
I'm going to chime in here, and I'm going to say that we need to stay healthy ourselves, because if we're not healthy, have a healthy mind, have a healthy body, we cannot impart knowledge on others who are experiencing stress and are distressed. So as Tina said, we have to start living day to day. I know if anyone is experienced with the 12-step program, when people are going through substance abuse issues, taking one day at a time. Living in the now. Don't project too much in the future, because we don't know. I'm going to use an example, and I tell everybody keeps calling. The students, when are we going to get back to school? And I say to them, you know what? I don't know. And you should not concern yourself with that. That is for a higher calling. Let's go day by day, because students don't understand. When this all clear is given, the hospitals are not going to be jumping and knocking on the school's doors to bring the students back to school. So I'm telling them, I don't foresee us going anywhere till 2021. And they're like, wow. I said, yeah, that's a long-term goal. So you should think that.
So Dr. Braithwaite, while I have you talking, I had a question for you. And it's kind of on the topic you're speaking on now. For those families who now have their children at home due to COVID, how do you suggest they talk to their children, especially their elementary age kids, for them to understand that understand that they're used to a certain structure, being with their friends and et cetera, and now they can't, so, you talk about those little ones that don't understand why they can't go to school and be with their friends.
Well, I don't have any children, but I can tell you how I touch on this with my sister's children, 13 and 9 and younger. You need to really give them facts. You need to sit down and say, look, this is something that's going on in the world. It's just not here in Florida. It's all over the world. And right now, this is how we have to behave. This is what we're going to have to get to for a little while. For the younger children, don't give them a date. Don't give them a time. Just say, I will come back. And another thing that colleagues are having is the family meetings, where parents, husbands, wives, children, whoever's in the household, they're coming together, not on a daily basis, but maybe once a week, and talking about these things. Kids are used to going to the park. They're used to, now they have to ride their bikes on the street. This is different. So I would say just sit down and have a conversation with them and use words that they would understand. This is a really bad cold. And just go that route with them and hopefully touch base with them. Ask them on a daily basis how you're feeling. How are you feeling today? Maybe at the end of the week, how was school this week? Are you getting used to being in school? And let them have a dialogue. I think that's the best way to handle it. Talk to them every day and have type of a dialogue with the children as it relates to what we're experiencing right now.
Okay. So, Tina, I had a quick question for you that came up. This question is about insurance. Unfortunately, the pandemic has put a spotlight on many who have not planned for sickness and end of life. What do people need to think about, and better yet, do related to insurance? How does having insurance protect the family left behind, or how does it or can it protect your business?
Okay, thanks for that question. It's a fully loaded question, probably 2 or 3 parts. So let me see if I can dive.
Do the short version.
Yeah, do the short version. So everyone needs insurance at some point in their life, via auto, home, condo, renters, even life insurance. Events, events happen, and certain type events cause us to look at life insurance a little bit more closely than maybe any other time, because when you start seeing folks that are passing because of this or other illnesses, then we tend to look at it a little bit in more depth, if you will. What I would say to individuals is that you should have those conversations with your insurance agent and or staff representatives, so we could see what will best meet your needs overall. There's no one size fit all type of situation. Everybody's needs are different. It's just important that this is not something you just have a conversation with one time. It should be an ongoing conversation that you have, so that you know what type of risk that you are accepting by having or not having enough of, or too little, sometimes even more than. But I think this is just a situation where you should have ongoing conversations, so that you know what's going on in your life and how the insurance can help or not help you. So I would always, if you do not have an agent that you have a relationship with, you can always call me and we can do a one-on-one and have those conversations. I don't know if I should give my phone number or not.
You can, or we can put it inside the chat so that whoever needs it can get it. Okay.
It's all right. 954-432-3341. Again, 954-432-3341.
Okay. Now we're trying to end up, because I do want to stay on time. However, in the chat, I hear that I have Kimari. She's one of our young viewers, or somewhat young. She's in her second year of college. I've done a lot of work with her with the NAACP Youth Council, and she had something she wanted to say. So, Kimari?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Like Ms. Felicia said, my name's Kimari. I'm a current sophomore at Bethune-Cookman University, and I am majoring in nursing. I just wanted to answer your first question about how things will be different and how can we prepare for the next possible epidemic or pandemic. And simply, we're just going to have to do more than just basic hand hygiene, not just washing our hands and hand sanitizing and, spraying Lysol everywhere. We're actually gonna have to, change our clothes once we come home, cover our mouths, take our shoes off before we come into the home so we don't bring any germs inside with us. It's gonna go more than just, basic steps. So everything is gonna be more, more advanced to protect ourselves. So that's all I just wanted to say.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm so happy that you were here with me this afternoon. So I do want to end on time as much as possible. So I just wanted to go ahead and, kind of summarize everything. I believe we had really great information given to us this afternoon. This is the first Fridays with Felicia. However, we will do this once a month. It'll be Fridays with Felicia. We'll give you some legislative updates. Basically, we're going to bring you good information to make sure that you're knowledgeable so that you can protect yourself, that you can be a good advocate for yourself, and so that we can move forward. While we navigate our present through this present crisis, knowing that I'm here to help you in any way that I can, I also wanted to say that I also need your help. I need your help through volunteers, through donations, and through word of mouth campaigns. Most of you all know that I have served in the city of Miami Gardens for 8 years, and I love what I've done, and anything I promised, I've always held up with. And now I'm presently running for state rep, District 102, and I now need your support. Again, you can volunteer, you can make a donation, you can just spread the word. Let's work together to make the changes we want to see in Florida. You can visit my website at www.electfeliciarobinson.com or go to my Facebook page. But for most of you all, you have my number, and I'm always accessible. I thank you for being here with us this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you next month for Fridays with Felicia. Thank you. Have a nice
Thank you,
week.
Felicia. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.